Last night, I had a dream that I was in Shark Tank. Well, not the show, but I mean 30 meters down underwater in a cage surrounded by great white sharks. Lucky for me, I realized I was dreaming, so I didn't really fear the monstrosity that was swimming around me. In this dream world, not only did I have full control of my body and actions, but I also had the ability to make mistakes and do whatever I wanted without facing real life consequences, such as death and serious injury. This really comes in handy when you're surrounded by sharks but face no threat of real life. Now, I know not that everyone has the ability to just lucid dream, but if you look at the situation that goes on lucid dreaming, you could say that it is quite similar to a rising technology called virtual reality. Virtual reality is a technology that simulates experience in a three-dimensional environment using specialized goggles and controllers. Just like lucid dreaming, you're put into a different world, but you're aware of your environment and able to explore and, well, die without actually dying. This new technology has captured the attention of people from all over the world, from gamers to veterans to doctors, because of its fascinating and immensely useful features that have been utilized in multiple disciplines such as entertainment and education. Some of VR's special uses are in exposure therapy, education, and stress relief, all of which researchers have found especially advantageous in mental health treatments dealing with PTSD, autism, and anxiety. Specifically, VR's ability to create an entire functioning world has allowed scientists to explore treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, called exposure therapy, in even greater depths. Basically, what this treatment does is expose a certain traumatic event over and over again in order to minimize anxiety that comes with it. If you have studied animal behavior before, this phenomenon is kind of similar to habituation, where animals become unresponsive to a certain stimuli that used to trigger a response after being continuously presented to it. For example, the first time you touch a turtle, it might draw back into its shell. However, after repeatedly presenting the turtle with the stimuli being touched, it no longer hides because it realizes that it's not in danger. With VR, this treatment of exposure therapy has been very easy to carry out because of its technological advancements, specifically simulations that mimic real life in such detail. BraveMind, a PTSD treatment project launched by Dr. Albert Rizzo from the University of Southern California in the US Army, focused exposure therapy on returning veterans through VR. The simulation consisted of explosions, rumbling engines, and smoke to mirror that experience that veterans went through during war, as closely as possible. This project produced great results in diminishing the wartime trauma of many veterans and proved successful in combating PTSD from veterans, decreasing stress, panic attacks, anxiety, and even allowing these veterans to go to sleep without medication. This kind of therapy can also be employed with getting rid of fears, such as acrophobia, agoraphobia, claustrophobia, basically anything that is difficult to pronounce and ends with phobia. When exposing someone to their worst fear, the intimidation factor seems like a large obstacle to tackle. As someone who has the fear of bugs, I know that it is not enjoyable to have thousands of bugs crawl on me. However, I've actually had the opportunity to dominate my fear of flying through an amazing experience on a jetpack over the beautiful views of Niagara Falls. And even though it was deathly frightening and completely digital, I'd say that the VR experience really helped me overcome this fear. Of course, that is more of a silly example, but exposure therapy type of tactic can be definitely used on more serious fears like body image disturbances and binge eating disorders. Beyond VR's ability to take on any virtual world, it also has the neat aspect where mistakes don't really have consequences. This aspect is extremely helpful with education and training. Although this isn't necessarily tied to mental health directly, it does have an indirect impact upon development in mental health because of how medical students can practice on virtual patients without inducing real-life harm or even death upon people when making mistakes. Students can do surgery on virtual patients and learn about human anatomy without using traditional classroom textbooks or dead bodies, thus allowing them to take on another avenue of learning through experience. This encourages mistake and error, and thus growth and learning, and thus better skill acquisitions in a stronger medical field ready to take on these challenges in mental health. Going off of the interactive features and being able to mess up in VR, it can also be used to help with the elderly, especially ones struggling with dementia and Alzheimer's disease. The VR training enforces daily tasks for those in early stages of dementia, thus helping them to retain memory and knowledge. Because of the virtual environment allows them to make mistakes, the patients can navigate and explore without being physically harmed, and like my previous point in medical education, they can better acquire skills and equip themselves in life. With this ability, VR has also been able to be used with autism, a childhood development disability. The headset is programmed to display situations that can teach autistic adults how to develop necessary social skills on their own while having the room to make mistakes that won't harm them. For example, crossing a road independently, or other fundamental skills for the real world, like mock job interviews and picking up visual cues from facial expressions. Now, without taking advantage of VR's features in the entertainment industry, this invention would hardly be relevant to the teens of the 21st century. The reason virtual reality is often used to play video games is because it engages the player in a world completely different from ours, fully immersing the player in a full-fledged digital world and allowing them to battle evil robots and monsters, thus making them feel as if they're actually doing so in real life. This aspect of VR can also help with releasing stress and anxiety, as does any other video game. Speaking of stress relief, VR has also been used to explore anhedonia, the inability to take pleasure in conventional things that typically invoke, well, pleasure in normal people. Those who struggle with this disability tend to have a lot of built-up stress and unease within them. By exposing these people who struggle with anhedonia into enjoyable environments, like a walk on a beach on a breezy day, they're able to take part in these positive activities and feel pleasure. The VR treatment has helped in both decreasing depressive thoughts as well as increasing positive feelings. Some specific companies have turned their focus on VR and tailoring it to the mental health industry, targeting peace of mind and relaxation. Mimmerse, a virtual pharmacy, helps its clients relax and meditate. A virtual environment with beautiful scenery and a calming voice allows for stress relief. Mimmerse has also been used by hospitals but is available to everyone. SciENce provides mental health professionals with environments that they can use to practice. Patients will have the headset on and will be presented in an environment where they are comfortable with. While the patient is exploring the new environment, the health professional will be sitting across them and guiding them through it, while also helping them maintain the stress levels and anxiety. Finally, Limbics targets anxiety and helps people face challenges in real time, whether that be public speaking or simply finding a safe haven to relax. They have lots of different services available, from ones that target mindfulness and relaxation through nature environments and breathing exercises, to games and entertainment, to experimental education, allowing people to understand depression, addiction, trauma, and anxiety, to finally exposure therapy, such as in the fear of needles, school anxiety, social anxiety, and the fear of heights. These companies have all used VR for bettering mental health. Although there's common complaints of VR causing nausea and headaches, and while that is true, these small side effects don't counteract the overall benefits that VR has on not only the mental health industry, but also the education and entertainment industries. So how about we try this for a change? Let's all put on our imaginary VR headsets and imagine a world where VR will be everywhere, from coffee shops to classrooms to football stadiums. By doing this, we'll all be accustomed to this new world before it even happens. And again, despite some of the side effects, VR will continue to improve, and it soon will become VR, very real. Thank you.